If I am in the normal weight BMI, and my body fat percentage is 30%, and you get someone else same height as me, but is in the overweight category for their BMI, but their body fat percentage is the same as mine, who is stronger? The overweight person is stronger because they have to carry around more weight, but by carrying around that more weight, they have more muscle and about the same amount of fat. So that makes them much, much more resilient. So basically the more muscle someone has in an appropriate level, the more resilient that they are going to be. So they have a higher VO2 max usually, because if they're sedentary just as much as the average BMI person is sedentary, who has more muscle? Who is stronger? Who can walk upstairs with more weight? Who can carry more load for a longer period? It's the person who has more weight. In fact, as we age, one of the things that we need to be paying attention to, especially when we're like super old, right? I mean that we should all be overweight. No, I don't think so. What I took away from the book was like, if all things are equal, it'd be great if you're in a normal BMI and you had a higher VO2 max because you exercised and you had more muscle mass because you were resistance training. Then you're gonna have a much less propensity to have high cholesterol and high blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. But if you had an event, you know, at the same body fat percentage and a lighter weight, you're gonna be much less likely to survive. So a lot of these studies are studying the average population. What's the average population? None of us, okay? Because we're in a gym, we exercise, we work out. The average population is pretty much completely sedentary. So if I'm a normal weight and sedentary versus overweight and sedentary. So that's where they're getting those numbers from, I think. So basically, your body has a happy zone with the amount of fat that you have, and I need you to accept that, right? But at the same time, if we become overweight because we become insulin resistant, that also means that we're likely to be leptin resistant. And so one way that we can mitigate that is through reducing the amount of starchy and higher sugar types of carbohydrates that we have, increasing the amount of fibers, vegetables, and proteins, and even fats to a certain degree that we are consuming, to where when we do have those little amounts of carbohydrates and we do have that insulin spike, we become sensitive to the satisfaction hormone, leptin, in our bloodstream. Everybody cool with that? You got some nodding heads up there? Okay, awesome. Last week we talked about all the different things that cortisol has us do. So I'm just going to read down the list of benefits and negative side effects that cortisol can produce. So one of cortisol's biggest jobs is to increase the amount of blood sugar in my body. Okay, so if I need more blood sugar to exercise, right? Somebody runs in here with a gun, I'm gonna need more blood sugar so that I can take off really, really fast for a really, really long period of time. So those adrenal hormones just pull sugar right into our bloodstream and start to create more sugar. At the same time, because I'm so stressed, my body's gonna go, I'm gonna die from this bear chasing me. I don't need to worry right now about this virus in my body. So my immune system is actually gonna start to be diminished as well. Now, in appropriate levels, cortisol actually helps our body burn fat and carbohydrates and proteins, okay? So in appropriate levels, cortisol is actually good for us, but if it starts to get above and chronically above where it needs to be, or I become resistant to it, it's not going to help with those particular processes. It will also, at the same time, I'm being chased by a lion, I'm running away, my body's not going to go, hey, you know what we need to do with our energy? We need to keep building bones. That's what we need to do. It will not. That's not the highest priority for our body. Our highest priority is to get away from that. So just think about the Maslows Hierarchy of needs, right? Our body's getting food, water, shelter first, right? Bone formation, muscle formation, happiness, even sex drive can go down. A funny story about sex drive. Let me tell you a personal story about sex drive. So one of the more common drugs, pharmaceutical drugs that men take is Viagra, right? Except for most men don't need Viagra when they're on vacation. Isn't that strange? Too many women laughing in here. This is not good. Okay, but why do you think that is? Because they're not stressed, right? If I'm running from a lion, I'm not going to be going like, once I get away from this lion, no, I'm getting away from this lion. And if a man is under stress, and women are the same way, if we're under stress, whether it's emotional, psychological, chemical, physical stress, our body's going to be much less likely to go into those higher levels of Maslow's hierarchy of need types of functions. So there you go. All right, so there are a few ways to reduce cortisol, and I talked about this a little bit last week as well. So if we're under a lot of stress, which most of us are, we've got business deals, we've got bills, we've got children, we've got grandchildren, we've got children that are not really our children, but I call them clients. They can cause a lot of stress, and they take our voice away, which is really weird. They make us a little bit more raspy sometimes. So cortisol reducing things, especially guys if we're having a hard time sleeping. Because by the way, when we're sleeping, what we're doing is we're becoming sensitive to all of this stuff. So when I'm sleeping, I'm in like my most anti-inflammatory state, especially in my brain. So therefore, my leptin's going to be more sensitive to my brain. Ghrelins going to be more sensitive. Cortisol, glucagon, dopamine, serotonin. Basically everything, my body just becomes less inflamed, so it functions a lot better while I sleep. If I have too much stress, my body won't be able to fall asleep very well, and I won't be able to stay asleep very well either. And I'm going to wake up feeling like, oh God, I can still go to sleep. So if you're one of those types of people, there are a few cortisol reducing methods that you can add into your life. So a little bit more magnesium can be really, really important. Okay, two of my favorite magnesiums. One is like a little drink, it's like an effervescent drink, a little powder. It's called Calm. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that or not. It's really good. It's tasty. You do a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons. Read the directions. I can't remember. Take the whole bottle at one time. You'll never wake up, ever probably. And so what it does is it just helps reduce our cortisol levels. Take it in the evening, and you have a much easier time falling asleep. Cool, right? Awesome. Omega-3 fatty acids. There's not one single thing that our body doesn't use omega-3 fatty acids for beneficially wise, right? So taking omega-3s, it's going to be helpful. Other things that can reduce cortisol, okay? Not Pantera, not Metallica, but like Beethoven, Bach, all those. So classical types of music, calming, relaxing music is going to be very beneficial.